had something from a record like...
The faceting I've talked about, except the spheres. I'm going to pick one of these spheres up again to show you. Here's a nice one. Now that doesn't give out any colours at all. It would multiply light that goes through it, but it's unmanageable. And a crystal like that, if it was set up in a certain circumstances, in conjunction with the cube root and the first and second dimension, the distributor, if that was set up at a certain angle with an amount of energy coming through, so it's quite strong, and if the sun, now I'm not talking electric light, if the sun hit that at a certain angle, it could cause devastation. I don't think I'm going to go more into that, but I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. A crystal like that would cause a lot of devastation. If you take the crystal and cut some off it, then you can play all the light through it and magnify it down here. If you turn it over with the round to the top and the flat to the bottom, then the light that comes in here spreads itself out, and it's the flat bottom like that sends a circle of energy down. So if you turn it over, you will send a very fine ray, like a laser, down. Now if you played that laser into a second one down here, which had a flat top, this has been multiplied 1,000 times. What went in there, multiplied 1,000 times coming out here, and that hits this one down here, and once again is multiplied by 1,000 times of that one. And then, of course, you have to know what you're doing, because you have to realize what you could be doing down below that one there. There's no problem if you watch what you're doing and set things up before you start them. Just don't play around with crystals. We've got some more to go yet, but I'm trying to instill into you caution. Always have caution. I have hurt myself several times by being too eager. You have such a choice to go to. Now, included in those choices, you have other things. You have 6 colors, and the 7th, which is the pure light, and then you would have the dimensions or the magnitudes to multiply those colors, and you would also have reflections. You have so many things going for you that the combinations, it's hard to believe how many there is. But you have to take this into consideration. Do I want depth? Do I want broadness? Do I want to go inside that person 6 inches or just half an inch? All of these things, when you understand your crystal, when you come to get them faceted, then you should think of this as have the crystal faceted for what you want to do with it. It's obvious that you have to have quite a selection of crystals so that you can have a choice. Now, a person is not two-dimensional. A person is three-dimensional. You notice I've turned around to healing, eh? Because that's what we really are looking at. If the person is three-dimensional, why would you play a flat energy onto that person, unless it was, say, for a skin disease on the surface? Why would you not play it into the person, because they have depth, they're three-dimensional? These things you have to think of. Now, before I go any further on that, I'm coming back to it, before I go any further on that, I have to once more warn you about things you shouldn't do. Any one of these crystals here, if I may just point to one of these. Take this one. If we had, and this happened to 2 very good friends of mine, and they had a crystal like this, and they had a pen light flashlight. And they had it on the table like that, and they shone the flashlight onto it to look what happened here. The light that went in was of a certain strength. The one that came out was multiplied 1,000 times. The man burnt the retina of his eye badly, and 2 days after, if the wife didn't do the same thing, he was wrapped up, his eye was patched up for about 10 days, and his wife about a couple of days. It wasn't so bad. But see, if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Always have that bit of caution. I've hurt myself once or twice because I didn't look at what I was doing first. What could be the result? Now, don't ever shine a flashlight at one of those. And another thing is, you should never have these things. We'll take this one here. That doesn't send out any colours at all. It's got no windows in it. But that one there, if you had the sun shining on that and you put it close to something, you can see the light come very brightly at the bottom. It's 1,000 times stronger from what's going in to what is coming out. If you cut it in half and make a flat, that doesn't send out any colours at all. It's got no windows in it. But that one there, if you had the sun shining on that and you put it close to something, you can see the light come very brightly at the bottom. It's 1,000 times stronger from what's going in to what is coming out. If you cut it in half and make a flat top of it, all the energy goes into the flat top, comes out of the convex here, and would burn grass, piece of wood. You multiply it 1,000 times. I'm mentioning things now that are not only performance, they're dangerous, but they can also be used sensibly. And I don't know, there's so many things I want to warn you about. It's not very easy to tell them all, and it's not very easy to just remember them on the spot, on the spur of the moment, but I think in a minute we'll come back to one or two more of these before we actually leave these. We've got a beautiful sample of crystals here. As far as ornaments are concerned, I wouldn't know which one to choose. I like them all. But my job is not to just like them, my job is to understand them. And I'm sure that some of you have crystals like this that you have used maybe to meditate with. Now, if you've just obtained a crystal, whether it's from a shop or from somebody else, before you should meditate with it, you should clear it. By that I mean you should erase everything to do with anybody else that ever touched it and instill your own energy and your thoughts into it. And you do that so easily. You take your crystal and look around it. You can find two, if you can't find holes, find some dents in it. And I find two here. Perhaps you can see them. They're not very deep, but they'll do for what I want. And I take two fingers and I put them on there, on those two holes, and I would ground it to the table or anything else. And I would just hold that for maybe a minute or a minute and a half. And it would take out all recordings that other people have put into it. Whether they knew they were doing it or not, it's nothing to do with it. It has registered in there like a computer. I am erasing its memory. Now that has been there long enough. My thumb has grounded it. These two fingers, one positive, one negative, have made complete three-point contact. Now this crystal is mine. I have now cleared it. It's mine. Now I fill it. And I can take this crystal in my hand. And I can fill it now with instructions. And if this were my crystal, which of course it is, when I filled this crystal, do you know the first thing I filled it with? I filled that crystal with love. Because out of love comes healing, caring, and you'll get a better performance from the crystal itself. You're putting yourself into it. If you want to put evil things into the crystal, you can do it. But I put caring, thinking about other people. And this will respond to me because it is now attached to me. I have instilled into it the things I want to do with it and the things I want it to help me with. Now, you can't sort of put into here a story. You give it instructions. And the instructions are done with thought and caring. And when you have given it instructions, you know in the crystal itself it is live and taking what you gave it. But now you ask it some questions. This is exactly the same as a computer, but like a computer, you have to put something in before you can get any answers from it. I put all kinds of things into here, personal things. And from those things I put in, I weave a network, a grid if you like, a series of computations, and it will give me answers, not in words, but I can feel the answers. If I said to someone, do you like that color? And they didn't answer you, but they pulled a face, you know they don't like it. If you said, do you like that color? And they smiled, yeah. So when I ask the crystal something, it will indicate to me the forces in here will go through me. I can feel it. And I don't get words, I get indications or guidance if you like. So a crystal is not something to play around with. It is not a toy. It's as human as you are. And it responds without question. You could never have a better servant than this if you treat it right. But always remember that what you put in is more or less what you'll get out. Don't put something in when you have something against somebody. You're jealous of somebody. You wish you had this. You don't really need it. Put the thoughts in that would help you through life, meet your needs, and then you can turn around and ask for guidance to help others do the same thing.